suddenly exploded with notifications. "Megan, did you see Felicity's post? She's getting married today. Are you really not coming?" As the messages flooded in, I realized that Felicity Simons, the prom queen of our high school, was tying the knot. "All our old classmates were attending," I replied, trying to keep it professional. "Sorry, I'm swamped with work at the moment, but the responses were swift and brutal. What could you possibly be busy with?" "Someone who hasn't posted in 100 years must be doing pretty poorly, comma. Seriously, just admit you're embarrassed and stop pretending to be so busy." Felicity chimed in herself. "Remember our bet?" "I always said I'd marry someone better than you," I shot back. "Can't say I recall that." Immediately, others jumped in. "Felicity's husband is the CEO of a publicly traded company. They even send over 100 luxury cars to pick her up today. Comma. Sounds like you're worried about how your life compares, so you're pretending to forget, comma. Maybe you're so broke you can't even afford a wedding gift. Why not start a crowdfunding campaign to help you chip in under the barrage of comments? Felicity, tag me again, putting on a show of graciousness. I really hope you can make it to my wedding to witness my happy moment. Since we're classmates, I'll have my husband arrange a cleaning job for you." With that, she posted a stunning photo of herself and her husband in wedding attire. My jaw dropped when I saw her husband's face. That was Logan Ridley, my husband who married into my family. "Sure, I'll definitely come to witness your happiness, comma," I typed back, my fingers shaking slightly. Just as I hit send, my phone buzzed with a message from Logan. "Hey babe, I'm heading back to my hometown to see my parents today. I've already prepped dinner and left it in the fridge for you. Just heat it up when you're ready. Love you always." Logan had moved in with me 3 years ago, always looking out for me and taking care of everything. Even when he stepped out, he never forgot to prepare for my daily needs. I used to be touched by his thoughtful gestures, but now all I felt was a sense of absurdity. I abruptly ended the video call and drove to the address Felicity had shared in the group. As I approached her home, I spotted a massive red banner hanging over the entrance, normally welcoming Mr. Ridley, president of All Grand Group, to the wedding. Comma. Beneath the banner stood Felicity, resplendent in a snow-white couture wedding gown, eagerly awaiting her groom. A crowd of our high school classmates surrounded her, buzzing with excitement. "Felicity, you really kept this under wraps. We had no idea you were marrying the CEO of All Grand Group." "Seriously? Mr. Ridley is a well-known entrepreneur. You've hit the jackpot, Felicity. You're about to be a high society lady." "Don't forget about us little people." Even our high school teacher, Amanda Lane, was there, fawning over Felicity. "Felicity, the first time I laid eyes on you, I knew you were destined for greatness. That's why I never scolded you for your grades. I knew you were born to be wealthy and didn't need to rely on academic achievements." As the crowd showered her with compliments, Felicity wore a triumphant smile, her eyes sparkling with self-satisfaction. Logan had been living with me for years, seemingly doing nothing productive. To help him gain experience, I had entrusted him with managing the smallest company under my name, All Grand Group. Little did I know that would become the very capital Felicity was now flaunting to bask in the spotlight. When I walked in, the classmates who had been so eager to flatter her just moments ago suddenly furrowed their brows, looking at me with evident disdain. One of Felicity's lackeys spotted the car behind me and rushed over with a sneer. "Megan, you're really something else. Did you actually rent a Bentley just to come to Felicity's wedding and save face at that?" The others chimed in with scornful remarks. "No wonder you had the nerve to show up. You just wanted to play pretend, right? Renting a car like that must cost you at least 3 months' salary. Some people just love to put on a show. As if pretending to be rich could ever stack up against Felicity's husband. Seriously, is it that hard to admit others are doing better than you? Why go through all that trouble to rent a fancy car just to keep up with the Joneses?" Despite their derogatory comments, I remained calm. "Actually, it's my car," I replied evenly. Before I could gather my thoughts, Felicity suddenly stepped in front of me. Her expression furious, she raised her hand and slapped me hard across the face. "Car. This is clearly my husband's car. I suspected my husband was seeing someone else on the side, and now I find out it's you. You little tramp. You shameless gold digger. How dare you show up at my wedding driving my husband's car to taunt me, the legitimate wife?" Felicity's words left everyone around his wide-eyed and in disbelief. Felicity, is that car really your husband's? No way, one classmate exclaimed. Incredible. Felicity puffed up with pride, her chin held high. Of course it's real. Why would I lie? With that, she pulled out her phone and started scrolling through photos of her and Logan. There were shots of them snuggled up in the car and others of them lounging on the hood, looking cozy and intimate. The details inside the car and the license plate were unmistakably clear. Crowd gasped collectively, "Holy crap, it really is Felicity's husband's car. That means Megan must be the other woman." Felicity's expression twisted into a skull, her eyebrows knitting together in anger. No wonder you've been so quiet all these years. Turns out you've just been playing the side chick. The crowd turned their eyes to me, their expressions a mix of shock and disdain. I can't believe it. Megan looks so put together, yet she's been sneaking around as someone's mistress. Right? I used to think she was this cool, a loose straight, a student. Even wrote her a love letter back in high school. Now it feels gross just thinking about it. Some people act all innocent on the outside, but behind closed doors, there are a whole different story. The moment they see a wealthy guy, they're practically begging for attention. Look at her, flaunting the sugar daddy's car right in front of the real wife. She must be jealous of Felicity getting married and is trying to ruin the wedding. Even Amanda looked at me with contempt, her voice dripping with disdain. Megan, when you're out in public, please don't mention that you were my student. I never taught anyone with such a lack of morals. Crowd's chatter turned into a frenzy, drawing in onlookers who pointed fingers and whispered. Some even took out their phones to record, while others spat in my direction. In a fit of anger, I ripped off my designer coat, which was worth tens of thousands of dollars, and tossed it into a nearby trash can. I turned to face Felicity, my voice steady in fears. You should really ask Logan who the real mistress is before you start throwing accusations around. Once I finished, Felicity slapped me hard across the face. Do you really need to ask? Today is my wedding day with Logan. Can't you see that? She pointed angrily at my car, her voice rising. I absolutely despise mistresses. All of them deserve to be punished. With that, she pulled out a key and scratched the words Mistress Die across my car's paint. I glanced at the glaring letters, a chill running down my spine. You'll soon realize just how ironic those words are. Felicity's anger boiled over. You shameless hussy, stealing my husband and then mocking me? Just thinking about my husband's car being driven by a skank like he makes me sick. With that, she picked up a brick from the ground and began smashing it against my car. She hit the windows, the headlights, the hood. Nothing was spared. Felicity is going to be the future First Lady of all Grand Group. We can't let her be bullied by a lowlife like Megan, someone in the crowd shouted. Suddenly, everyone started grabbing anything they could find to join in the destruction. After smashing the windows, they even climbed inside, vandalizing the seats and interior. My once pristine luxury car was quickly reduced to a heap of wreckage. I watched these lunatics with a cold glare. I hope when it comes time for you to pay for this mess, you'll be just as eager to take responsibility. But my words fell on deaf ears. They acted like I was invisible. Just then, one of Felicity's lackeys, Pride, opened the trunk and shouted, Hey, look, she's got a bunch of cool stuff hidden back here. Felicity stepped closer, pulling out a painting with a scornful smirk. Sleazy woman who makes a living off her body trying to play connoisseur with the collection. Give me a break. I couldn't help but issue a warning in return. These items are worth far more than my car, especially that painting. I'd advise you to be careful. The contents of my trunk were prized acquisitions from auctions that I hadn't yet found a place for Felicity's. Anger flared further at my words. It's a desecration for a creature like you to own such a masterpiece. You're trash, and you deserve to own nothing but trash. She tore the painting to shreds in front of me, then stomped on the remnants with vicious glee. Amanda, scrutinizing the ruined artwork, gasped. That painting is a master's original. I heard it started at a $300 million auction. Felicity shrugged it off brazenly. So what if it's $300 million? What's still my husband's money, and what's his is mine, so I can do whatever I want with my own stuff. Her ludicrous claim left me speechless. Logan, far from being the wealthy tycoon they perceived, was a penniless Aravista. Even with the reins of all Grand Group in his hands, his ineptitude had slashed the company's market value by nearly half. Were it not for his marital status, I would have long since fired him. Yet Felicity and these old classmates idolized him as a commanding CEO, hanging on his every word. With Felicity leading the charge, the others followed suit, wrecking and shredding the contents of my trunk with abandon. Seeing them in a frenzy, I reckoned it was futile to intervene. I quietly pulled up my phone to call the police. Before I could dial, Felicity lunged at me, snatching my phone and smashing it to the ground with force. "Calling the cops now, are you, you brazen mistress? What gives you the right?" She then noticed the pendant around my neck, her eyes lighting up. "That necklace looks pricey. Did you use my husband's money for that too?" Before I could react, she yanked the necklace from my neck with brutal force. Startled by her abrupt and violent action, I paled as I shouted, "Give it back!" Seeing the sudden panic wash over me, Felicity smirked, her eyes glinting with malice. "Getting nervous, are we? That necklace must be worth a pretty penny." I felt a surge of desperation. "It's not about the money. It's important to me. Just give it back." I lunged forward, reaching for the necklace. This necklace wasn't just any piece of jewelry. It was a talisman. My mother had fought tooth and nail to get for me. I had been often sick when I was a child. Bedridden and unconscious at 4 years old, doctors had told my parents to prepare for the worst. But my mother refused to give up hope. She went to a church, praying fervently for my recovery. My mother, in the sweltering heat of summer, climbed the arduous path to a mountaintop church. She was nearly unconscious by the time she obtained this necklace. Even solely by her desire to save me, it was as if the heavens themselves were moved by her devotion. Miraculously, I woke up from my coma, but my mother paid the price with her health. On her deathbed, she entrusted me with that necklace, insisting I safeguard it. I had cherished that necklace dearly. Ever since I was a child, it had been my constant companion, always close to my heart. It was more than just a piece of jewelry. It was a lifeline, a connection to my mother, and I would never let anyone harm it. "Just try to take it from me, and I'll make sure it's destroyed," Felicity taunted. Before I could react, she hurled the necklace to the ground. The sound of shattering pieces echoed in my ears as the pendant splintered into countless pieces, scattering across the pavement. "No." My heart dropped, a knife twisting in my chest as I watched the only thing my mother had left me disintegrate before my eyes. I gasped for breath, feeling the world closing around me. "You're a monster." I couldn't hold back any longer. I slapped Felicity hard across the face, my anger boiling over. "Bitch, you dare hit me?" Felicity shrieked, clutching her cheek, her voice piercing the air. "Someone teaches this little tramp a lesson. Whoever gives me the best show, I'll hand over $1 million. Just like that, the crowd turned against me. "Still think you can mess with Felicity? She's the future First Lady of all Grand Group. What do you think you are? Seriously? It's just a broken necklace. You should be used to losing things since you've been selling yourself for scraps. Why are you so worked up, shameless mistress? You think you can just waltz in and act tough? You really think we're afraid of you?" Even Amanda couldn't resist kicking me while I was down. I hit the ground, trembling with rage and humiliation, gritting my teeth. "You'll all regret this." The laughter that erupted from my old classmates was cruel and mocking. "Gret, you think this is high school? Just because you were the smart kid doesn't mean you're above us now, right? You're just a washed-up nobody. You're out here selling your body and still think you can intimidate us? Know your place, mistress. You should be grateful for the attention you're getting. Seriously, how low can you go? Seducing your old classmates? Man, you're digging your own grave." They pinned me to the ground. Their taunts and jeers echoing in my ears as the crowd joined in, spitting and hurling insults. Felicity stepped forward, a triumphant grin plastered on her face as she stomped her foot on my cheek. "Regret? I've never regretted anything in my life. I'm just waiting to see how you'll make me regret this." Just then, a fleet of luxury cars roared into view. Halting in front of the crowd, Logan emerged from one of the cars, flanked by a group of sharply dressed men.